All right, happy Tuesday, everybody. How are you doing? It's April. Are you ready for something more spring-like? You know, I was in Tennessee on spring break last week with my family, and I knew there was going to be some unsettled weather this week, but when I got back into town, it didn't take me very long to realize, we got ourselves a whopper of a spring snowstorm that's heading towards northeast Wisconsin. Hi, I'm Chief Meteorologist Steve Beylon here at the First Alert Weather Center. And yes, I think a lot of us are getting exhausted by snow at this point in the year, but that's kind of where we're at right now. Now, I want to just tell you right off the bat, what we're going to be getting over the next day or so is nothing quite like the April blizzard back in 2018. That was a historic storm. And while this one will be a big storm, it's not going to be the same kind of animal. It's going to be more of a long duration event, although the bulk of the snow will come down tonight. And it will not be as heavy as the April blizzard either. Let's get you outside to a live view from our Green Bay sky cam. Voila! We've got some rain here at downtown Green Bay. You can see the wet roads. We're above the freezing mark. We're at 37 degrees, although with that northeast wind coming off the bay at 16 miles an hour with some higher gusts, it really feels like 28 outside. And we're all here on this streaming feed to get information about our next weather maker. It's the strong spring storm that's coming in later today, lasting through tonight and tomorrow. Plenty of heavy, wet snow and wind both today and tomorrow, our first alert weather days. The National Weather Service has issued a winter storm warning. Technically speaking, it doesn't go into effect until 1 o'clock this afternoon, and it won't expire till 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. But during that 24-hour time period, we're expecting most of the snow to fall about 6 to 12 inches across northeast Wisconsin. And we wanted to say hello to everybody on Facebook who is joining our stream. Our apologies getting up that stream on Facebook just a couple minutes late due to some technical issues, but now you've joined all the folks who are watching on YouTube and Roku. So welcome. So yes, a winter storm warning in effect 1 o'clock this afternoon through 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. And in those white shaded counties, Marquette, Green Lake County, and northeast into upper Michigan, 6 to 12 inches of snow will fall in most areas. I put the plus symbol in there because it would not surprise me if there's a couple isolated higher totals, especially if we get any lake enhancement from a north to northeast wind coming off the bay and off of Lake Michigan. So your severe weather outlook late today is in the high category. Heavy snow, strong winds, and you know the roads are wet right now, but as the temperatures come down late in the day, the roads will become slippery and snow-packed, and with the wind blowing, we're going to have some poor visibility as well. This will be an impact for the evening drive time home. And I'm a little bit worried that the very heavy waterlogged snow landing on tree branches combined with the wind is going to cause some power outages across the area for tonight. So you may be dealing with that as you go into early Wednesday morning. So if you are home and you're watching this stream, it may not be a bad idea to kind of figure out where are your flashlights in your home just in case the power does go out. So it's good to plan ahead and be prepared. You're looking at First Alert Viper Max, and rain is now developing across the Fox Valley and over towards the lakeshore. When you go northwest of Pulaski, it is snow. We were checking out some snow on our Shawano Skycam on our weather update during Good Morning America about 15 minutes ago. And so the snow is beginning, but really this is just the tip of the iceberg. As we kind of broaden our view, you can see all the snow that is developing to our west. And look at all that moisture coming up from Dubuque, Iowa into southern Wisconsin. As low pressure pushes towards lower Michigan, it's going to bring in some colder air aloft, and a lot of that rain is going to switch over to snow, especially as we go towards this afternoon. So really this is just the beginning. So we've got a few flakes and some showers at 10 o'clock. 37 degrees, 37 at 1 o'clock this afternoon. Snow developing as we go into a first alert weather day. And then the snow picks up in intensity as the afternoon wears on with a lot of wind. And that'll continue as we go into the evening drive time home. And by the time we get towards this evening, our temperatures will be dropping back into the lower half of the 30s around or just barely above the freezing mark. Now, because our temperatures are above the freezing mark right now, as the snow falls, initially it'll be melting, especially with the pavement being able to absorb some of that April sun. I know it's cloudy outside, but some of that energy from the sun, even with an overcast sky, can be absorbed by the pavement. At least at the onset, it will help melt the snow as it begins to fall during the midday and the afternoon. But eventually, as the sun angle gets lower in the sky and the temperatures start dropping down to the 30s and the snow picks up in intensity, those wet roads could all of a sudden turn snow-packed, and it might switch over to wet roads to snow-packed roads in a hurry at some point this afternoon, say around 2, 3, 4 o'clock. And that's when First Alert Pinpoint Predictor shows the intensity of the snow really picking up. Not such an issue during the morning and the midday, but notice what happens when you get to about 3 o'clock this afternoon. 3, 4, 5, 6 o'clock, the snow, according to our in-house computer model, becomes heavy, and that is when the roads are going to start deteriorating. So our travel forecast, it looks okay this morning. Roads are damp to wet. You know, if you've got to go out and get some errands run, or if you're going to get out and vote, now's the time to do it. Do it in the morning, because in the afternoon and evening it is not going to be as nice as the storm begins to move on in. So we go from the green light to the blinking yellow and red lights as we go into the afternoon and evening, and that's when travel will be tricky across northeast Wisconsin. So the storm right now is moving away from Missouri. It's tracking to the northeast. It's heading towards lower Michigan. But as it reaches lower Michigan, it's going to slow down. In fact, it might even back up to the west, closer to Wisconsin. That's because some jet stream energy is going to be coming in from the northwest and interacting with this storm system, kind of grabbing it a little bit and intensifying it right over top of the lower Great Lakes. And as it does that, it's going to really help the winds to pick up. Now, right now, it's a little brisk outside, but the wind late today, it's going to be howling in off the bay, off of Lake Michigan. So this is going to be not just a snow maker and a rain maker initially, but this is also going to be a wind maker. I'm kind of glad, in a sense, that the snow is going to be really heavy, wet, slushy snow, because if it was light and fluffy, it would be blowing all over the place, and we would have some serious blowing and drifting issues. But I think, while there might be a little bit of blowing, I think the heavy, wet nature of the snow will prevent it really from getting out of control as far as blowing and drifting is concerned, despite those strong winds. So we're looking at First Alert Pinpoint Predictor, and you can see what it's trying to do. 9 o'clock this morning. That freezing line's a little farther northwest by maybe a good 20, 25 miles, but you get the general gist. Rain and snow showers stay on the light side through about 1 o'clock this afternoon, but then look what happens. Well, there's 5 p.m. Big difference, right? So, yeah, the snow really picks up during the afternoon, and during the drive time home, that's when moderate to heavy snow is likely. That'll continue through the evening, and, even though there's going to be some melting and compacting of the snow, the intensity of this whole thing is going to allow the inches to pile up. During the evening, don't be surprised if we're picking up about an inch per hour, say around 8, 9, 10 o'clock. You look outside and the snow is like going like this in your yard. And tomorrow morning, you'll have plenty to shovel and plenty to snow blow. Now, the moderate snow will continue through Wednesday morning, but it will lighten up in intensity Wednesday afternoon as the winter storm warning expires in the afternoon around 1 p.m. And then I expect the snow showers to wrap up Wednesday evening. So a lot of you want to know how much snow we're going to get. So here's First Alert Pinpoint Predictor. And I've kind of paused this animation several times because I want you to see the snowfall projections or totals at certain time points during the day. Now, here's 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and Predictor says, there may be 2, 3 inches of snow on the ground in the Fox Valley, maybe 4 inches in Oshkosh if it comes down hard enough. That might be a little high for 5 p.m., but possible, but very, very possible. I would say in the valley, 1 to 4 inches of snow, possibly on the ground as you go into the evening drive time home. And then the totals go up. There's 9 p.m., all of a sudden we're at half a foot or more, and then the snow continues overnight. Here's 7 o'clock Wednesday morning. We got a lot of totals in the valley, around 10 inches, maybe 11 inches. Notice there's less north and west, and some folks along the immediate Lake Michigan shoreline may also have less, like Sheboygan, 3, 4 inches of snow and really not climbing. So if you are watching us right up along the lake shore, don't be surprised if you get a lot less compared to folks a few miles inland. there could be a very sharp difference from people who are east of the I-43 corridor versus west of the I-43 corridor, cutting through portions of Manitowoc and Sheboygan counties. But a lot of folks in the Fox Valley could have around or just under a foot by the time the storm's wrapping up Wednesday evening. And even to the northwest, you're looking at a lot of totals around 6, 7, 8, maybe 9 inches of snow. So 6 to 12. 6 to 12 covers most folks. But again, earlier when I showed you the winter storm warning map, I put a plus symbol in there because I am a little concerned that if we get this northeast wind coming off the bay and off of Lake Michigan, there might be a couple spots that have a little bit of lake enhancement. I wouldn't say a lot. This is not really a classic lake effect situation, but it's possible there might be just a little boost here and there in very localized areas. Now, the wind gusts, you see at 7 o'clock this evening, we've got northeast winds that are already gusting around 40 miles an hour. Overnight gusts will be around 50 miles an hour. So if you're traveling overnight into early tomorrow morning, that wind is really going to be pushing on your car, on bridges and overpasses, especially if it's an east-west oriented road. That's when it really is kind of coming as a crosswind. It can really cause some issues. And again, with that wind and the heavy nature of the snow kind of just weighing down power lines and weighing down tree branches, they could potentially snap. And so I wouldn't be surprised if we're dealing with some power outages late tonight and into early Wednesday morning. That wind is going to stay strong through much of the day Wednesday. Now, right now, it's brisk to breezy. We got northeast winds around 10 to 15 miles an hour, and the wind and the cloud cover is keeping our temperatures just above the freezing mark in most spots in the mid and upper 30s. We're at 37 degrees right now in the Fox cities. It's 37 in Green Bay, and it feels like 28 with that northeast wind at 16 miles an hour. But I expect that temperature to start going down during the afternoon. 37 and then dropping down to the 30s. Snow develops with some rain, especially across eastern Wisconsin. It'll turn windy. And then our first alert weather day continues tonight. Heavy snow, strong winds, mostly 6 to 12-inch totals across the valley. Low temperature of 33. And there's the first alert 7-day forecast. The snow continues tomorrow, although tomorrow's snow probably won't be as heavy. It'll be lighter, but by then you'll have had plenty. Assuming that you get the 6 to 12 plus inches there. Snow and wind. And then on Thursday, a few leftover rain showers, highs around 40, and then we climb to the 40s into the 50s as we head into the weekend. And the weekend's going to have some sunshine. And with the warmer weather, we should be melting some of the snow. It's going to take a little bit, but the power of the April sun will be rather efficient to melt out a lot of snow. It wouldn't be a bad idea if you get some snow that's clogging up any sewer grates, any drains or sewer grates in your neighborhood, any slush. Make sure that's cleared on out, because when the snow begins to melt, all that water is going to run somewhere, right? So it's going to be running into your sewer system. And if it's clogged up with snow, it's probably going to create some big puddles where that happens. So if you're shoveling and snow blowing, make sure those sewer grates are cleared on out. That way, when this thing does melt later in the week, not all of it, but it will melt pretty good. Make sure that we're not getting any water that's causing any issues, where standing water is a problem for some people. You got to figure that spring high school sports are going to have a little bit of a delay. Yeah, baseball, softball, track and field. Are kids golfing? I know there's golf teams in the area. I don't know if they're out golfing yet or not. Maybe it's a little early for that, but if there's any soccer going on, you got to figure that's going to be delayed as well. By the way, on a side note, on the end of your first alert 7-day forecast, Monday, the day of the solar eclipse, we don't get totality here in northeast Wisconsin. We get about 85% coverage. But if you want to see it safely, that may or may not happen, because we're going to have a partly sunny sky and a chance of showers. So that eclipse forecast for us back here at home is a little bit up in the air. That's literally and figuratively, it's up in the air. All right. You may be watching this at home on Roku, or you may be watching this on your smartphone. If you are not watching it on your phone, and if you want to download our free WBAY First Alert Weather app, you can take your phone and you can scan the QR code on the right side of the screen, and that gets popped right down to your device or to your tablet, and we update this thing multiple times a day. And of course, you get the radar right to your app and all the warnings. So it definitely comes in handy anytime we have active weather, whenever there's a spring snowstorm like this. And coming up on Action 2 News at noon and 4, meteorologist Keith Gibson is going to pour through the latest details on what's going on with the storm system. We get updates from computer models multiple times a day, and so he'll get the latest information, and if he needs to tweak the numbers, he will do so. And so I encourage you to watch his updated forecast. He does just a fantastic job. And there's ugly old me, which we don't need to see anymore, so I will go ahead and see if I can get that off of our screen. So we have got a lot going on in the next 24 to 36 hours with our weather. So we encourage you to stay with us as we give you updates with the storm. We know you're really busy. We know you're not by the TV all day, so we try to reach you where you're at, whether you're at work or if you're somewhere else. And I would encourage you that if you've got errands to run or if you've got to get out there and vote, to try to do it sooner versus later, because the weather conditions will get worse as the day wears on. We have Action 2 News mid-morning coming up at 9 a.m. We'll be giving you some updates on what's going on across the state and more weather information. And we appreciate you watching the live stream and supporting us as we try to serve you and your family as best as possible. Hope you have a great Tuesday. We'll be back on Action 2 News tomorrow morning, Wednesday morning, 4:30. Catherine Bracha will be back with First Alert Traffic. And, of course, I'll be giving you updates on the snow, some snowfall totals, and how the storm is evolving. All right, have a great day. Thanks for tuning in. Take care.